Hey there, welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to talk about what I think every woodworker struggles with. Scraps. The old adage is that there is no such thing as scraps. Well, ultimately, that's a farce. Because you can only keep so much. Even big cabinet shops have to go through and cull the wood to get down to usable lumber because not every board is perfect. I would argue no board is absolutely perfect. There's always a knot or a check or a warp or something's twisted or something like that because it's a natural product. So a method that I've come up with for my own shop is basically I treat it like the big cabinet shops would, and I tend to cull everything down. Like if I get a 10-inch wide board in that's got a big split down the middle, obviously I can't use the entire board. But what I can do is I can cut that split out and get maybe 2 usable pieces out of it that are, say, 4 inches wide. And that's the only material that I keep is that 4-inch strip. Well, I know for me, a 4-inch strip makes the horizontals on a gun rack. So I go ahead and size it for a gun rack, and I just set that aside. And then when it comes time to build a bunch of gun racks, I've already got a lot of the material cut, and it's real fast. And I don't have to spend much time generally doing my cull cuts because I kind of do it as I go. It's not like I typically don't like to spend an entire day just sorting wood out and culling it, because to me that's inefficient, because generally I need to be making stuff every day. So that's just kind of the process. It's like once I get the board, once I get my lumber back from the kiln, I get it planed, and it's ready to store. Once it's planed, I pretty much know, well, that's just strip material, what I call strip material. It might be for gun racks, it might be for wader racks, it might be for fishing pole holders, or something else that just uses basically dimensional lumber. All the wider stuff I can put into CNC and make other stuff. And then occasionally you'll get one of those strips out of that. So say maybe you have a 12-inch wide board, I can cut a gun rack and get a 4-inch strip out of it. But I'll go ahead and cut the 4-inch strip out of it right away and maybe use it that day or set it aside. It just depends. Once you get down to your usable pieces, that's the only thing you need to store. The rest of it I consider it firewood, either to burn in my own burn pit with sawdust, or I hand it out to friends that have pizza ovens or little fire pits at home or whatever. I jokingly call it get lucky wood. You know, the guy goes to the store and buys a bottle of wine and a little bundle of wood and goes home and hopefully gets lucky. You know, that's kind of a crude analogy, but that's how I feel about it. It's just kind of a humorous woodworker thing, I guess, maybe. But anyways, so I could give that away for free most of the time. I've thought about trying to sell the little bundles of firewood, but I just don't think I can make enough money at it to make it worth my time. So some other people, if it's a hobby, yeah, it might be worth your time to bundle that stuff up and try to sell it for $3-4 a bundle or something. I don't know. But there's always tons of people that sell firewood, so it's a really hard market probably to get into. Especially if you only have, 4 or 5 bundles a year, or in my case, I might come up with, I don't know, 100 bundles a year, let's say. So is that worth my time? Maybe, maybe not. I never really sat down and did the math on it, but I do know I don't have room to store it, so that's why I try to break things down. And speaking of storage, what I've come up with from my own shop is everything that's underneath my CNC is wood that's ready to either go in the CNC, or like I do have a pile down here. This is all oak that's been cut for waiter or boot racks. I do have some other miscellaneous pieces here, like these are for gun racks here, because I've kind of ran out of room. Obviously I need to make some gun racks. But I've got this rack over here. Move my bandsaw out of the way. This rack over here is nothing but, it's either pieces that are for deer mounts or the individual turkey mount here and there, or most of it's actually been cut down to, like, this is all fishing pole holder stuff here, and then I got gun rack stock in here, and same thing up here, and it's all sorted by species, so I got walnut, oak, cherry, and then this top shelf is kind of maple and hickory. But yeah, so in order to keep yourself from getting inundated, I would encourage you, if you have a product line like I do, you can go ahead and knock that stuff down and get rid of the bulky pieces so that you're not storing that stuff because you're not going to use it. So kind of what's the point? By the same token, you can kind of keep yourself a little bit more honest as well, because I always, especially when I first started out, I didn't have a huge inventory of wood like I do now. So I was always trying to use every last little piece, and you tell yourself, well, I can get this out of that piece, and I can live with that one little knot there. Well, maybe your customer can't, and then that part comes back, and it kind of gives you a ding towards your reputation. So it makes it easier to keep yourself honest because you've got all this inventory of pieces and parts of products that you make that are ready to go, that all you got to do is pull it out and go with it, because it's already basically been graded to a point where it's usable. There's no, major knots or cracks or any of that sort of stuff. So that's how I do it. That's going to be about it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. And be sure to mash that notification bell so that if you do subscribe, you get notified for my next video. You guys have a nice day. We'll catch you on the next one.